Hello, everybody. Yes, this is F1 Grandstand. This is your daily F1 news, and we have got a lot to get into today. Yeah, Ferrari want Lewis gone, just not today. Williams have got a new rebrand, and there are proposals for compulsory 2 pit stops per Grand Prix race. Do we want it? We're going to get into all of it. But right now, I just want to say, if you're an F1 fan, you're in the right place. Please, I've got a new graphic. Subscribe, hit the bell, give us a big thumbs up. Apparently there's hypes now as well. If you like the video, give us a hype. That's pretty cool as well. But you are in the right place. Do all of those things. It makes a huge difference to the success of the channel. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. Hey to everyone in the chat. So we got Kyle, Gemma, DT is in the house. Nice to have you all with us. I hope you had a great weekend. I've been cooking up something pretty cool. Got some pretty cool content coming later in the week. Been working on it over this weekend. Obviously, we've also got the Brazilian Grand Prix coming up this weekend. Happy days. We'll be, as always, doing the watch-alongs for that. So you do want to be with me for that Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and some extra new content as well coming very, 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 very soon, which I think you will all enjoy. But let's get into today's daily F1 news. Now, I know loads of people have been talking about this, about Ferrari's intent to not encourage Hamilton to stay past the end of his current agreement to the end of 2026 due to current factors of the unrest in the team and actually his results. But the thing is, very, very short-sighted, in my opinion. Just because Ferrari are thinking, he's expensive, is expensive, and that, that he's not necessarily saying all the right things to encourage the team, but he is saying the right things. That's the point. Lewis Hamilton is telling you the truth on how to improve the team from a communication point of view, from a department-to-department point of view, from a race weekend point of view. Listen to Lewis Hamilton. It's not that complicated. He's the only guy in your team who has won world championships. He's won 7 of them with 2 different teams. He knows what it takes from a team perspective to win a world championship. So yes, Lewis Hamilton's been out in the press this week, even apologising that he's not quite got up to speed in that Ferrari since he's been there, because we've seen Charles Leclerc do very, very well. And you got to remember, Charles Leclerc is a very, very good driver. Like, he is a good driver. He's been at Ferrari forever. He's contracted to the end of 2029. He's Ferrari's golden boy. And yeah, Charles Leclerc has outperformed Lewis Hamilton this year. But Lewis Hamilton has improved. He has closed the gap between him and Leclerc. And next season, it's going to be completely different. So for these little rumours and PR things coming out from Ferrari saying, you know what, that they really are not looking at Lewis Hamilton for 27. They're looking at other driver options, which we will get to in a minute, is honestly, I think it's too early to be doing that. I think it's outrageous. And you got to remember, it was only a month ago that Charles Leclerc's management were talking to other options for Charles Leclerc to get an early exit out of Ferrari, because Ferrari doesn't look very good this season and he's not sure about next season. So let me tell you where this story goes. Well, it goes like this. Lewis Hamilton has he's playing the Ferrari game. He's sort of been humble about his criticism, and he said, Rome wasn't built in a day, and that's what he said in his recent interview with that was covered in Planet F1. He basically said, look, Rome wasn't built in a day. He expected his move to Ferrari to be big, but it's seismic. And he said, I knew that aligning brands would be big, but it still hits you and you're like, that it's even more powerful than I imagined. It's beautiful that there've been plenty of positives, although a lot of responsibility and weight comes with it. Everyone expects to win straight away, but Rome wasn't built in a day. How long did it take? We'll have to look that up. He doesn't know his history. Only when you're inside a team can you really truly understand how it works and how F1 works. You can't imagine how the machine really operates otherwise. I've been in F1 for so long, but when I came to this team, it really was different again. So I don't blame people for not knowing. All I can do is continue to focus on the things that I control, how I prepare and work with the team, how I show up each day and stay positive. And what he's basically referring to there is he's saying to the fans who are calling him out, saying, look, you just don't know what it's like in this team. And you also don't know what it's like in any Formula One team. There's a lot of adjustment. And so he's basically saying there's an ignorance that the fans have that he doesn't need to correct. All he needs to do is focus on his job and improve day after day, which we can all agree he has improved, right? He has improved Grand Prix after Grand Prix. Halfway through the season, he looked like he was going to quit Formula One completely, which he hasn't done, which we're all very grateful for. And that's the thing. Like, so that's what Lewis Hamilton's saying. He's almost apologetic, but he's doing that because he knows what's coming. So when you've got leaks coming out of Ferrari, and I'll tell you what those leaks are, of other driver options, assuming that Lewis Hamilton's not going to be there in 27, and they're already saying, I mean, this won't be a surprise. There's two options, by the way. The first option is one that's not going to surprise you, and it is, of course, Ollie Behrman. Now, Ollie Behrman is literally in the Ferrari pseudo sister team, which is Haas, performing very, very well. Contention to Rookie of the Year. Him, Hadjar, close. But Ollie Behrman's result last weekend to get a P4 in Mexico City was outstanding in a car built from the Ferrari parts bin. And Ferrari are thinking Ollie Behrman is the future. And it's not just Ferrari saying this. Martin Brundle's been talking about it in the press. He's been saying, Ollie Behrman, shoo-in for 27. But there's one major thing that no one's talking about. Right. Ollie Behrman's future is directly tied to Hamilton's future. And Hamilton's future rests solely in Hamilton's hands. He's got a Ferrari contract to the end of 26 with a +1. But that +1 means 27. But that +1 isn't Ferrari deciding we want Hamilton to stay. Literally, Lewis Hamilton has got it in his contract. If he chooses to do another year in Formula One with Ferrari, they have to give him the contract. They have to give him the drive, which is wild because I've never known a driver have that on his side before. But that's what Lewis has got. So Ollie Behrman's future really rests in what Lewis Hamilton wants to do. Lewis Hamilton's 40. Well, Fernando Alonso is going to be 45 next year, and he's still racing pretty damn competitively. And he's going to be in an Adrian Newey car, which we all know is going to be super competitive with that Honda engine. So Hamilton could be on the grid for the next 5 years, potentially. If he's competitive, why would he not be? If I was tying for 7 world championships with Michael Schumacher, and I've just got to get one more, I'm gonna ride it till the wheels fall off, right? You are gonna have to pry me out of Formula One by my talons because I am gonna want to win that 8th world championship, so I'm undisputed champion of the world forever in existence of Formula One, because I can't see anyone ever doing it again. So yeah, that's what I think. But Behrman's not the only option. I'm going to come to the second option in a minute after I've gone to the chat. Hey Kyle, hey Gemma, hey DT. Hey DT, first to donate. Love this channel. Tony couldn't think of a better community to be part of. DT. I love it because we've only just to explain what DT's done there. So we're a new channel. We're growing really nice. We've got a fantastic community. DT is one of our founding members, along with Kyle and Gemma and Crackite. And it's a great community. And we've just got past the place where we can start getting monetized. And that is our first donation, DT. That's our first super chat. Brilliant. I'm so, honestly, mate, you're the first one. You've made history. How cool's that? How cool is that? Very cool. Thanks, DT. You've made history. Our very, very first super chat in F1 Grandstand's history. Thank you very, very much, DT. Much appreciated. Crackite says another bad car in 26, and it could be Leclerc, who needs replacing. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And do you know what? Crackite, have you read my mind? Have you read my mind? Because That's the next part of this story, which I'm going to get into. Hey Drip, oh, hello, also hey Drip, welcome to the chat. We're a big friendly bunch at F1 Grandstand. I'm so grateful to you being part of it. Thank you very much. Now, Crackite, you've led me nicely into the next part of my story. So that's the Ollie Behrman part of the story and the car in 2026. Okay, now. This brings me on to the Leclerc situation. So Charles Leclerc, he's contracted 2029, but as I said earlier, this year his management have broken ranks and started looking at other suitors for Charles Leclerc for 2027, because Charles Leclerc, even though he's contracted to the end of 29, has performance-related clauses in his contract, and if Ferrari don't meet them, he will be allowed to leave Ferrari and join another team. So this is actually a real dilemma for Ferrari, because here's the thing that no one's been talking about around this story, and Crackite has nailed it. Imagine this situation. Ferrari, Hamilton goes, nah, I'm going to retire, end of 26. It's a bag of spanners. I'm done. Leclerc goes, Ferrari power unit, terrible. Ferrari, not competitive. I want to win a world championship while I still got it in me. I want to win one, right? I want to win one at Ferrari, but more than that, I actually want to win a world championship. So he leaves. What happens then? It's not just Ollie Behrman they're going to need to go and fill Hamilton's seat. Who could possibly fill Charles Leclerc? I can't even speak. Charles Leclerc's seat. Well, let me tell you, according to sources, it may surprise you. It may not. It's Gabriel Bortoleto, and the stories have been coming out. Martin Brundle has been talking about it. Bernie Ecclestone's been going on about it. And Ferrari themselves have said they love Gabriel Bortoleto. Does the name give you an indication of where he's from? Yeah. Right? Ferrari do like having Italian drivers in their cars. So as much as they love Ollie Behrman, they're not far behind on Gabriel Bortoleto. So depending on how the driver market transpires and what Leclerc does, what Hamilton does, there is an outside chance in 2027 that we have an Ollie Behrman rookie, Gabriel Bortoleto rookie, not rookies in 27, being your Ferrari lineup, not just a Charles Leclerc, Ollie Behrman lineup. There's actually a chance that these guys together could be the answer. And yeah, it's so funny that Crackite mentioned it, because that's what I was saying, that there was literally joining up the dots. It's like, you know what, people are talking about Hamilton leaving, everyone stopped talking about, well, what if Leclerc goes? No one's considering, Ferrari aren't even considering that is a possibility, and it really is a possibility. Leclerc, Aston Martin Aston Martin might have a quick car. Fernando Alonso's seat becomes available, and Adrian Newey's car is damn quick, and it will be. And Ferrari's power unit's no good. Honda power unit's great, and there's an opportunity. You could see Leclerc go to Aston Martin. It's real. So we could see a Ferrari car with Bortoleto and Ollie Behrman. So yeah, have your thoughts. What do you think of that, guys? Tell me in the chat. Would you like to see a Ferrari Bortoleto Behrman pairing in 27? Because I do think Bortoleto's quick. The only thing about Bortoleto is when Audi take over Sauber next year, I have a feeling there's going to be an uptick in Bortoleto's performance, because Audi are not going to be slow. Their power unit is not going to be slow. No way. The data from the Audi power unit is it's almost comparable, from what we can see, to the Mercedes power unit. And it's German engineering. It's going to be brilliant. It is going to be brilliant. I'm sorry, it's going to be good. Audi don't mess around when they come into motorsport. So that's the situation there. Bortoleto is a possibility for 2027 at Ferrari. And we could see Leclerc somewhere else, and we could even see Hamilton somewhere else. But I saw Kyle said earlier on the chat about Christian Horner. And the thing is, he said about Hamilton and a Horner pairing at Ferrari, if Horner ended up there as team principal. You know, I actually think Horner and Hamilton, they've had their differences. Hamilton obviously hates Horner because of the 2021 situation with Max, but could they work together in the same team? I think they probably, if they were forced to, I think they probably could. They'd have to work that bit out though. They'd have to have this conversation. I mean, 2021 was just ridiculous, soul destroying for Hamilton. And obviously Horner was on the wrong side of that for Hamilton. So I don't know. There'll be wounds to heal, Kyle. Wounds to heal in that one. But from a Horner point of view, having a driver as good as Hamilton and the feedback to help him build the team, I actually think a Hamilton-Horner partnership, if you like, in that respect, would be great for building an F1 team. So that's me catching you up on what's going on in the Ferrari rumours and the Hamilton story. But I do want to get into, oh God, this next story is driving me mad. So there are rumours that Pirelli are pushing for a mandatory 2 pit stops per Grand Prix. Why would they want to do that? Well, it worked in Monaco, they say. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think about this. It means that every single Formula One team during every Grand Prix has to pit twice. But what they're proposing is we remove the requirement to have for the teams to use 2 different type of tires. So you go on soft and soft, or you go soft. You can run mediums all day if you want. What will this do for the racing? I mean, if you're forcing teams to pit twice, it's only going to encourage teams to really run identical strategies, which negates the need to pit. Because I was talking to someone from a very, very well-known tyre manufacturer. Let me say this. And we were discussing tyre technology. Now, we went back to Formula One pit stops, back to the 70s and 80s. Why did we have pit stops? It's because we had to, right? They're running V10s, V12s, right? They needed to refuel. The cars were just churning up tyres, and you had different manufacturers from Dunlop, Goodyear, Pirelli, and you need to change the tyres because to get the grip out of the car, tyres which would not last for 70 laps. And this is what he told me. He goes, did you know that we could make a tyre right now that would grip for 72 laps of a race? We could. The technology's there to do it, even with current Formula, and especially with current Formula One cars. But then we've just got a sprint race for 70 laps. And we don't want that because that ruins Formula One. We want pit stops. But by saying to people, mandatory 2 stops would be better for the sport. And the only thing that can indicate that how a pit stop could influence a race is, well, how good your pit crew is, because they have to change tyres. Well, it's not that important, is it? Like, it really negates the value of having a pit stop. So you may as well just put tyres on a car that can last 70 laps and everyone runs the same tyre. Here's your tyre for the day. Unless you get a puncture or you get a broken wing, the pits are unnecessary. And that, unfortunately, is really a similar situation to saying everyone has to have mandatory 2 stops. The whole point of having pit stop strategy where you can be fast on a 2 stop, or you can go long on a 1 stop and use driver skill to just stretch out the efficacy of those tires for as long as possible in order to make that 1 stop work. The real problem isn't mandatory pit stops. The real problem is tire technology. You need to make tires, Pirelli. The softs need to go off earlier, right? You need to make the softs super grippy but last 15 laps, right? Mediums, the problem is you need to sort your tire compounds out. You need to make the tires go off earlier, right? Simple as that. You've got 6 compounds at the minute. Maybe the fact that you've got 6 compounds is too many. Maybe going back to 3 compounds, a soft, medium, and hard, where they wear differently at different circuits, which then influences when to pit, how to pit. You know, I don't know. I think the problem's a Pirelli problem. I don't think it's a Formula One problem, is what I'm saying. I don't think changing the rules in Formula One to force people to pit twice is going to have the effect that you think. It's going to have the opposite effect. It's going to make racing boring. It's going to make every team know, you know, their pit strategy and they're all going to have the same pit strategy. There's not going to be any variance. And especially if you allow people to use the same tyre, people go medium, right? Stretch out the mediums because it's always the best balance. We look at this season, the medium tyre has been the really optimum tyre all season. We've even seen in some races where the medium tyre is not only the optimum tyre from a performance point of view, but in speed point of view, it's as quick as the soft tyre. So yeah, this is not a rule I'd like to see, because they did it at the Monaco Grand Prix, right, this year, in a bid to ramp up excitement. I'm reading this article because of lack of entertainment. The FIA implemented a mandatory 2-stop rule, but it did little to remedy the problem, especially as the field pitted the first time during a red flag, which of course they would. And so Mario Isla recently admitted that teams, despite their best efforts, will, when they can, shift their focus from importance to results rather than entertainment. So what he's basically saying is the teams don't care about the viewer's entertainment, but what we want to do is increase the entertainment for the viewer by having more pit stops where things can go wrong. I don't think that works. I think if you want to increase entertainment to the viewer, you need to change the way these tyres are constructed. The softs need to go off quicker. The mediums need to go off quicker, right? That's really what it is. I'm going to see what you've got to say. I'm going to get the chat. Yeah. So I'm coming to the chat. So we've got Crackite says Hamilton, Horner versus Verstappen versus Toto could be epic. Actually, I'd love that, Crackite, to be honest. Yeah. Kyle Melson says Pirelli want to sell more tyres. Well, I want them to sell more tyres, actually, Kyle. That's what I'm saying. I want the tyres to go off sooner. I don't want you to be able to do 30 laps of a 60-lap race on the soft tyre. That's insane, right? And we've seen it multiple times. And the medium tyre, people going for, stretching the medium tyre out for 35 laps. Like, you can't on a 60-lap race. That's not what they should be doing. But you're right, DT. More tyres used, more money for Pirelli. Well, let them have it. Let them have the money. But if they want to improve the racing, don't take the pit stop strategy away from the teams, like a 1-stop or a 2-stop. Just make it harder to choose, right? Make it so it's just possible. So you're going to have to make these tyres go off quicker. Yeah, they want to shorten the race and add more pit stops. I don't think they're going to shorten the races anymore, because what they're going to do, I'll tell you what they're going to do about the short race format is, because they did actually, I know what you're talking about. I talked about this. The FIA wants to shorten the races because people's attention span, youth of today's attention span, couldn't handle it to watch a full 70 laps race, which is ridiculous. What they are going to do, though, is they are going to push the sprint format, right? So we have 6 sprint races a year. I don't think it'll be that too distant in the future where the sprint format is a standard part of a Formula One weekend. Yeah, that's right, Crackite. They said the younger generation can't concentrate for that long, hence more sprint races. But I think that's what's going to happen with Formula One. They'll have the sprint race, which obviously is no pit stops. There's your quick race. That race might become more entertaining, more important to the weekend. But the Grand Prix, you cannot tamper with the pit stop strategies for the teams. All you can do to influence that is change how grippy the tyres are and how long they last. So this is a Pirelli problem, right? This isn't a Formula One problem. So it is not going to improve entertainment, forcing teams to pit twice. It isn't. Like, forcing the teams to pit twice is going to make it boring because, one, the pit stops will all be 2 seconds long, right? They will be the same tyre choice by every single team, and all it'll come down to then is how good the car is. The best car will always win. Now, right now, of course, the odds are in the favour of the best car to win, but we have these magic moments, don't we? Where somebody can have this crazy tyre strategy of a one stop where they stayed out on track and the tyres are going off, but they hold P4 when really they're a P8, a P15 car, right? Hulkenberg, P3, Silverstone. You know, these pit stop strategies can change the mid teams to get in a podium just because they made some good calls. Safety cars come out at the right time and they managed to hold position. And we can't take that away from Formula One teams. We cannot take the 1 versus 2 stop away. We can't. It's a big part of racing. And and it can change the order in a way that cars can finish where the cars who are just not very good can end up scoring big points because they managed to make a 1 stop work over a 2 stop. And so it's not the one. It is not the one. Kyle says, I watch NASCAR and they go 3.5 hours. F1 is short to me. I agree, Kyle. I could watch it. I can watch a 2-hour F1 race and still want more. Drip says, I think more pit stops are just more of an obstacle. It's more like obstacles or a strategy. Apart from money to the pockets, take in this case that previous races where Leclerc got to the pit stop earlier than Max. Exactly. And Drip says, but Max's team was faster and that way Max took Leclerc's position. Don't know what if I don't know if you're getting it. Yeah, but that's the point. But what we don't want is it just coming down to like, because that's interesting, because if you look at Max, he stayed on a 1-stop strategy, didn't he? Right? And Yuki Tsunoda, who was on a 2-stop strategy, they made him stay out on his, I think it was either his soft or his mediums. I think his soft had gone off completely. They made him stay out to try and create some blocking. So Max, you know, to create some space for Max, and sacrificed Yuki's race because he was on a 2-stop. And that's the beauty of 1-stop versus 2-stop. We can't take that choice away. Like, you know, a pit stop's what, 20 seconds? So tyres going off on the hard tyres, they're slower, and factoring that in on a 1-stop, it makes a difference. And it all comes down to Pirelli need to make those. We've seen it this season. We cannot see soft tyres last 25, 30 laps of a 60, 70 lap race. We just can't do that. Right? You know, the softs need to go off earlier. The mediums, you know, maybe about right. And the choice for the hard is the same thing. It's got to almost be a 1-stop, almost, or on some tracks. But if we keep the rule that then they have to take the medium, then it's going to be dicey at the end. The tyres will be going off last few laps, and that's okay. And that's what we want to keep. We do not want to mess that up. So that's my view, but I'd love to know what you think. So I'm going to do a poll. I'm going to ask you, actually, because I forgot, I've just learned how to do this. I've just learned how to do a poll. So I'm going to do this. Should F1... Oh, hang on. Give me a second. I'm doing it as we go. Should F1 have mandatory, great word, 2 pit stops in GP? Okay, let's see what you think. Start poll. Hopefully that's worked. There you go. We've got a poll running. I always forget about this stuff. We've got a poll running. And by the way, I just want to give my my new graphic a little run out as well. Yeah, don't forget, if you are watching, enjoying the stream, please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And hit the bell so you can always keep up to date when we go live and new content comes out. It makes a huge difference to the success of the channel. And I'm super grateful to every single one of you. I hate asking, but it is part of it. I need to, because you might have forgotten. But there you go. Do all those things for me. And if you want to do a bit of hyping, whatever that is, get on it. Brilliant. We love it. Cheers. But yeah, we started a poll. I want to know what you think. And here's the other thing. Actually, Kyle says something interesting here. Kyle says, let more squirrels on the track. That will add excitement. But he also said something else, like, or more officials like Mexico. Now, here's the thing. about Mexico, letting those officials, stewards, marshals, whatever you want to call them, sprint across the track at an incredibly dangerous time, right? Here's the thing about the about Formula One. Do you know that every one of those people, the marshals and the stewards and the officiating, is done by volunteers? It's not like football or soccer, wherever you're watching, where we have professionally paid referees, right? In the biggest, the pinnacle of motorsport, we don't have officiating professionals that are paid by Formula One to travel around with the circus and officiate consistently every Grand Prix. I think that is madness, right? That is absolute madness. How are we not paying officials to follow the sport around and give the same organization, the same officiation, same stewardship, running, like controlling the race, the same race controls? It's insane. Hey Sema, welcome to the chat. I've not seen you for a... Do you know what? It's nice to have you with us on time towards the end of the show-ish again, but it's nice to have you with us again, Sema. Make sure you do rewind it afterwards. We have got a poll running. We've currently got a poll running where I'm asking all of you whether you think that should F1 have mandatory 2 pit stops in a Grand Prix? Because that's what's being proposed, right? That is what's being proposed right now by Pirelli. Maybe because Pirelli don't know how to sort this tyre problem out. But like I said, they could go the other way. Make it a 70-lap sprint race, because they could make a tyre that lasts. Technology's there now, apparently, according to my source, where they could have a tyre that lasts the entire Grand Prix. So now, you know, pit stops are kind of a, unless there's been damage to a car, but they are kind of a sort of contrived part of Formula One now, where back in the 70s and 80s, you couldn't have a Formula One, and before, you couldn't have a Grand Prix without pit stops. You just couldn't. Impossible. But now it's all changing. But we don't want to get rid of them. That we're definitely not getting rid of pit stops, and we definitely don't want to make it mandatory 2 stops. We need the 1 versus a 2. Make it very close. And that comes down to how you construct those tyres. You know, gamble a little bit. Make the soft super soft and amazing over a short space of time, but make them go off quick, right? You know, they need to. DT says, which makes it crazy when they put the blame. Oh, what's this? Lawson just thought. Oh, sorry, DT. You're absolutely right. He's talking about. I was talking about the marshals running across the track, which makes it crazy when they put the blame on Lawson and not just own up that volunteers made a stupid decision. It was absolutely crazy to allow them to do that. What the hell were they thinking? They were putting their lives in danger, and because of that, they come out on the defensive, like exactly like DT says, trying to blame Lawson, saying he didn't deviate his line when he saw those marshals in view. No, because the rule is the Formula One driver who's going at obscene speeds stays on the racing line, and anyone who's on the track stays off the racing line. Like, that's how it's done. Otherwise, if he corrects and the marshal corrects, no one knows which way people are going to correct, and it's an incident. That's why the rule is the cars stay on the racing line. The driver knows where to put the car, and the marshals know where to stand. There's no deviating from that. Yet they turned around and said that Lawson's telemetry showed that he didn't try and avoid them. No, because he was on the racing line. They needed to get off the racing line. And if he tried to come off the racing line to avoid them, he would have. There's a chance he would have hit them. So that's absolute crazy. I'm glad you voted no, Summer. Yeah, and this is Kyle says, yeah, this is the same group that didn't have a doctor for the first 25 years. Absolutely right. Like, Formula One has seen some crazy decisions. I mean, obviously since 1994 Imola, Senna, we haven't seen any more fatalities in Formula One, which is obviously a good thing. But after that weekend, right, Barrichello's crash, Ratzenberger's fatality in qualifying, and Senna's fatality in the race, like, yeah, I mean, even people that used to love Formula One from the danger aspect and the thrill of a shunt, and even the thrill of how dangerous it was, even after that weekend, I think even the viewer was like, we don't want to see that. right? We're not here to watch people. We're not here to watch fatalities. People like a shunt. They like it like an accident, but we don't want anyone to be hurt, right? And since then, luckily, there hasn't been any fatalities in Formula One since then, which is good, which is very, very good, and we're glad about. Yes, Sema, you voted no. Good. Kyle says, I'm excited to see how they keep this battery charged for 70 laps. Me too. Because the new regulation is quite funny, isn't it? Well, not funny, but it's right. It's funny for someone like me who's watched Formula One for a long time, from V12s, V10s, V8s, V6s, you know, and the electrification that's come in. And we've gone from this season where we've got like a 15% electrification with the craziest regeneration, by the way, of exhaust gases. Bizarre, complicated, expensive system. And next year, we're increasing the electrification to 50%, but we're simplifying the regeneration system, which is basically like regenerative braking, like you get in a Tesla. That's basically what it is. But this is, you know, the Formula One advanced version. But let's be honest, it's what it is. It's regenerative braking. It's going to help charge up that battery. But the problem that everyone's seeing, and these engineers over at Red Bull were saying, is, well, the battery power hasn't been lasting for the length of a straight. Like some long straights, Monza, for instance, they were running out of power towards the end of the straight. So if you're a car behind him who's running out of power, it's going to be effectively like someone putting the brakes on. And you're not, you know, you can't have that. You know, the braking point should be chosen by the driver, and you cannot have a point on the straight where, you know, you're out of power. Now, the boost button, as I'm calling it, which is the replacement for the DRS, they've got a fancy term for it, but we all know it's a boost button. It's like Mario Kart, push the button, extra power, overtake, here we go. It's a boost button, and that's what we're going to call it. So the boost button for 2026, that's when that battery power becomes really significant, because if you're keeping charging your battery, when you hit the boost, that's when you get that surge of electrification for overtaking maneuvers or defending maneuvers. So what we really need to see a situation, Kyle, is this. If the actual standard circuit of going on a circuit, there should always be a quote unquote full power, if you like, minus the boost. And then the skill of the driver to keep the battery charged and keep enough battery so that boost is available. That's really what we're saying. Because maybe the boost button, you know, is you'd use it to defend. So it's not every time you go down the long straight you hit the boost. Maybe it would, maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. Or maybe you save that battery power when you're in, you know, you got someone up your arse and you want to defend or you want to overtake. But managing the electrification, the truth is, no one knows how the drivers are going to do it yet. All we know is that the 2026 car right now on the simulators is a pig to drive, according to Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton. They all say it's horrible to drive. No one likes the 2026 car in the simulator. In practice, it's going to take a different sort of driving style, right? And we don't know who's going to get that nailed down first, or whose natural driving style is going to suit it. But these cars in 26 have got less grip. The tyres are smaller. The cars are narrower. They're faster in a straight line. They've got no ground effect, less aero. So yeah, I mean, who knows, right? And all these manufacturers and teams are going to bring a different interpretation of the 2026 rules. And who knows who's going to get it right? But the one thing we do know is the cars will be fast in a straight line. Like Toto Wolff said, they could do 400 kilometers an hour. 400 kilometers an hour down the straight. Yet, you know, they're not going to go around corners as well. So it's going to be wild. So Kyle says, I'll imagine they'll use 90% on the first lap and spend the rest of the race charging it for the final few laps. Could be that. Yeah, could be that. Kyle says also next year we have an active front wing. We do, and an active rear wing. Basically DRS for front traction. Hopefully stay on the ground in the straight. Yeah, you see, so what you've got an active front and active rear. So you've got the front wing, like Kyle says, which will give you active front, and the rear wing, which will give active rear. So both of those, the front wing and the back wing, will move, which is effective like giving DRS. But we've also got an extra boost in power of electrification, the battery. So you've got that, the active aero, plus a kilowatt hour boost as well, right? So that's why Toto Wolff is saying, God, you know, in a straight line, these cars, 400 kilometers an hour, they're going to be rapid. And with the Mercedes power unit, it's true. But here's the thing, I don't just want to see overtakes on the straight, do you? Like, I want to see wheel to wheel going around the fastest corners, Eau Rouge, right? Wheel to wheel. That's what I want to see, going around dangerous, fast corners, wheel to wheel racing, where the sickest overtaking maneuvers that you could imagine. That's what I want to see. I don't just want to see, here we go. We're in the DRS zone, equivalent, and here I push the boost button, I can overtake. Now I want to see something different. I want to see racing, you know, switchbacks, dummies, overtaking on the outside, on the dirty side of the track. I want to see all of it, right? That's what I want to see. That's what Formula One racing should be. It can't just be, I've got the power, I've reserved my battery, I'm going down the straight, boom. You didn't reserve your battery, you can't defend, there's the overtake. Like, come on. Let's get wheel to wheel. I love it. DT says, have you seen in Formula E, they have a fan boost. People vote and the driver with the most votes gets something like a 4-minute boost. No way. Is that true? I don't watch Formula E. Is that true? Oh my God. Your fans can boost you. That's crazy. Imagine F1 doing that. Hulkenberg getting boosted every race. Yeah, I'd give Hulkenberg a boost, and also give Lance Stroll a boost as well. You know, he's one of my favourites, because you lot are always digging at him. So I would be giving him my vote. Go on, Lance, get a boost. Let's go. Drip, I think that view, Red Bull will be at an advantage. If pit stops were gone and battery endurance became the key variable, Red Bull's energy efficiency, regenerative mapping. Yeah, you see, that's exactly the type of thing Red Bull's good at. Do you know what I mean? That is the nerdy stuff that Red Bull are good at. And hybrid deployment algorithms would likely keep them ahead. They've been preparing exactly for that kind of future, as currently they are planning to put to use their new engine. Might have it all. Here's the thing, Drip, on that. Here's the thing. You do know that Red Bull were the ones that lobbied the FIA to get the FIA. Do you know how we've got this 50-50 electrification and 50% internal combustion engine next year? Well, Red Bull lobbied the FIA to say we need to have a 5 to 10% variance in that. So if it's not always 50%, 50%, then maybe the ICU can give an extra 10% if the battery's not there. And the FIA have gone, okay, well, yeah, it looks like that's going to be an option where they'll give a 5 to 10% variance. And that was Red Bull doing that. Now, why did they lobby the FIA for that? I can only guess that their power unit they're developing with Ford needs it. That's why. Because the data they're getting, because I tell you who's objected to it. Toto Wolff's gone, no, you can't have that. That's my Toto Wolff impression. But Toto Wolff said no, because he knows his Mercedes power unit is perfectly fine with the 50-50% on the nose, totally accurate, no variance needed. So he's objecting. He's like saying, you can't change the rules now. We developed our engines to be, you know, specifically 50-50. That's our entire PU has been designed that way. And now you're saying there's a 5% variance which can be exploited because Red Bull's power unit isn't able to kind of maintain that 50-50 ratio for an entire 70 laps. So it's outrageous. But that's Red Bull who've been lobbying the FIA for that variance to be included in the regulations. But yeah, Drip, wheel to wheel is crazy. It is. It's the best way. Will, hey, he's back. How you doing, my friend? He says, hello, I've kind of had to revise for my exams now, so I might still be inconsistent. All right, bro, listen, university's important. You have got to pass that stuff. You got to go for it. But you finished for today. Good, we can enjoy the show with us. Drip says all the best. Will, Gemma's got her fingers crossed for you as well. I like that. So Kyle says, I'm sure Red Bull will be closer to 10% than 5%. Me too. Like, I like Ford, right? I think Ford can do some remarkable things in the engine department. The Ford Cosworth relationship for engines was brilliant in motorsport. Yeah, so look, do I think Ford are going to come with some excellent skills to this Red Bull Ford powertrain? Yeah. But do I think it's going to be like as good as Honda? No. Honda, like, they're probably the greatest engine manufacturer in Formula One's history. Like, I think Honda are going to bring Honda, Senna, McLaren. Like, wow, you know what I mean? Honda, they're not going to do better than Honda. I can't see it. I can't see it. Not in their first season, anyway. Audi, we already know the data that Audi have had their power unit on the bench for like 7 months now, and all they're doing is testing reliability. That means they've found the power. They've got it working. They've got that German like technology, engineering brilliance, just like Mercedes have. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the two question marks for 2026, I hate to say it because I love Ferrari, but I'm just not sure. I'm not sure Ferrari going to bring a good power unit in 26. I just don't believe it yet. Losing Zimmerman, losing Schmidt, them saying that their engine hadn't been on a bench or a dyno, and them leaving their engine, their baby, before they even see it on the track to go and join Audi. I just think joining up the dots. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced. I find it difficult to be positive about that 26 power unit for Ferrari. And yeah, Red Bull and the Red Bull Ford power unit, I'm finding it very difficult to be confident about theirs when they're the ones asking for a 5 to 10% variance. No one else wants that. No one else is asking for it. So yeah, it's definitely a fascinating situation on the whole power unit debate for 2026. I'm going to go back to the chat. Yeah, so Sem's saying looking forward to 2026. It's already going to be interesting. 2026 is going to be fascinating. Oh, the stories, it's going to be so good. Aston Martin are going to be fabulous. And that's because I have confidence in Adrian Newey and I have confidence in Honda. And Fernando Alonso. It's going to be fantastic. Where's Ferrari in all of this, by the way? Oh, yeah. I got to it. I got to Ferrari in the end, Will. Kyle says Ford has a good pedigree with high-performance engines. So does Cadillac. It'll be interesting. That's the thing. Ford are a giant. Cadillac, they're a giant. Cadillac have given themselves sensibly 2 years to bring their power unit. But Ford and Red Bull, how long have they been developing this power unit? I don't know. I'm not actually sure. Is it 2 years? I don't know. Just not convinced. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. We'll see. But it's going to be fascinating. But I'm going to end tonight's show in a moment, but just not before I've congratulated Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc, congratulations. He's got engaged. Is it commiserations? Is it congratulations? It depends if you're a divorced man or not. But congratulations, Charles Leclerc. He's announced his engagement to partner Alexandra Saint-Malou. Very, very happy for them. Those crazy kids going out, getting married. But here's the question. What will happen first? Let's take a bet. Charles Leclerc getting married or Charles Leclerc winning a World Drivers' Championship? Who knows? Get your answers on a postcard. I'd like to know. I also need to resolve our poll. Oh, God. This interesting results on the poll. I hope you've been getting involved. Wow. This is today's poll. Should F1 have mandatory 2 pit stops in a Grand Prix? Yes, 44%. No, 56%. That's too close. What's wrong with you? It's got to be no. But I'm surprised. I'm a no. But that is way closer than I thought it would be. 50-50. That's insane. Absolutely insane. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. Done it. Yeah, I'm going to... So it goes to the chat. Yeah, I did have a little burn. Caddy for sure. Yeah, DT says I burned him. So Gemma thinks they'll get married. Yeah. Married. Sema laughing. Drip laughing. Married. He'll get married before he wins it. I'm sure of it. Just bring back V10s, Will says. 100% agree. 100% agree with you. Well, we're going to have to settle for V8s. Honestly, we're going to have to settle for V8s in 2031. It seems a long way away, but I've said it before. Toto Wolff has let it slip. He said all the teams believe the sweet spot is V8s, naturally aspirated. I'm here for that. 100% with sustainable fuels, and that's where the next generation of F1 power units will be. And you know what, the FIA even said we can do this in 2029. If everyone hates electrification, we can do this in 2029. And this is where Toto Wolff and all the other, like, and Ferrari as well, said, look, we've developed these power units now, we've got to get max value out of them. It's got to be a 5-year cycle. So the V8s will be coming, but in 2031. There's a video in my archive about that if you're interested in a more detailed description of the V8s that are coming. Kyle said, yeah, the V10s had smaller cars, bigger engines, brilliant. Sustainable fuels doesn't work in a V10 though. Boo, maybe. Will, 26, 29 or 31 will probably bad, I bet. Yeah. Look, getting rid of DRS in 2025 is going to be replaced, and it's going to replace with this boost function. And the boost function will basically work like DRS, but it'll give more control to the driver as to when he wants that extra kilowatt hours of electrification power. So hopefully we get DRS, but where the effect of a DRS where we get the extra pace and the extra power, but it more to the driver's decision when he gets that power. And if he makes the wrong decision, pushes it in on a corner where he doesn't want it, and then, I mean, DRS is too... The problem with DRS, Will, is that when you get a DRS train, because all the cars are following each other, the advantage of DRS disappears, doesn't it? Because DRS is automatic. I'm within half a second of the car in front. I've got my DRS open. You're in a DRS train. Everyone gets DRS, so everyone's going faster down the straight, and no one gets an overtake done. You just get 5 cars that are all going faster down the straight, apart from the car at the front of that train. So, yeah, what I think this new system may be better, which means as long as you're managing your battery electrification the right way, at the touch of a button, you'll get that extra power to do your overtake maneuver. And if you're defending, you can push that extra power, right? So hopefully it will change the problem of DRS trains, but it is yet to be seen. And Will says the memes will be gone. Exactly. I see what you've done there. You stitched me up. I've got into a conversation about DRS trains when, yeah, I know what you're doing. Yeah, the dirty air problem is really down to the ground effect era of cars, actually. The ground effect of coming out the Venturi tunnels at the back of the car from the ground effect era is what's causing a lot of that dirty air as well. And because we've got rid of the ground effect era, those Venturi tunnels, etc., and we've gone back to more mechanical grip with some aero, that should reduce the amount of dirty air behind the car. But I'm here for it. Let's find out. But that's all physics and theory. But will somebody come up with a way? Because teams like to create dirty air, don't they, behind them? Will the teams find a sneaky way to create more dirty air that they get away with? Maybe. Who knows? Time will tell what they do in 2026. I mean, hopefully dirty air will be solved. I don't know. Is it Friday yet? Go Max. Yes, Kyle. Friday is coming. And Friday we will be doing, as always, our live watch-alongs with race timings, track, commentary. We just launched it in the last race in Mexico City. It was good fun, a little bit glitchy. We're working on it to make it even better. So we'll be doing that this weekend as well. So please do join me for that. We have a lot of fun actually on those live streams. They're really good. So please. Oh, and not thanks DT. Wednesday night, absolutely. He knows the schedule better than me. Wednesday night, you don't want to miss the 7:30 show because that is our preview show for a Brazil baby, and we're going to be doing predictions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to have who you think's going to have a stinker of a weekend. That's our dipstick of the weekend predictions, and who do you think's going to be the driver of the weekend? Your driver of the weekend predictions. So have those ready for the Wednesday night show. Make sure you got those. Obviously today's Monday, so you got 2 days to think about that. I will remind you again tomorrow at tomorrow night's show at 7:30. And don't forget, if you haven't smashed a like on the video, please do that. Share it. Do all the other good stuff that helps the channel. And DT, again, DT, the very first person to do a super chat. That's the first funds ever that's come in to F1 Grandstand. Very, very grateful. Thank you, kind sir. Very much appreciate that. Brilliant stuff. Thank you to everyone who's been involved in the show tonight. It's been really good. Sema, Kyle, DT, Will, Gemma, Drip. Who else have we had? The Crackeye, of course. And everyone else who's been involved and watching the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, show your appreciation, smash a like, tell your friends. I will be back tomorrow night at 7:30 for more F1 news and more shenanigans with you lot. Thanks again for being part of this community. It's really, really making me smile. Thanks, guys. All the best. Ta-ta.